people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
De la noche, Stephanie Piñeiro.
That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest as it pertains to a fighter that we haven't heard from in a while. Stephanie Piñeiro will compete for an interim world title in Bayamón. The Bayamón boxer Stephanie Piñeiro will have the most important commitment of her career on September 12th when she competes in the interim world welterweight title fight of the WBA in a billboard presented by Universal Promotions at the Ruben Rodriguez Coliseum in Bayamón. With an unbeaten record of 8-0 and 2 knockouts, Piñeiro will face Canada's own Marie Pierre-Houle, 11-1 with 2 draws, 3 knockouts, ranked number 2 via the WBA. Piñeiro, for her part, is listed as number 1 in the WBA rankings, the World Boxing Association, and the International Boxing Federation. She's ranked at number 1 with them too. After several months of working hard to achieve this great fight for Stephanie, Universal Promotions has managed to finish the business and sign the contracts, said Javier Bustillo, president of the promotional company, in written statements. This will be a huge fight for Stephanie. It will be a great night for Bayamón and for all of Puerto Rico. We are ready to conquer women's boxing, he added. Universal Promotions is a small, well-to-do outfit. I've seen one or some of their shows, but I take it that because Universal is at the helm of this promotion, there is no involvement from Matchroom. Matchroom, who promoted Stephanie Piñeiro for 1 or 2 fights, last on the undercard of Liam Paro versus Subriel Matias. I take it that Matchroom's interest in Puerto Rican talent must have ended the moment that Subriel Matias' title reign ended, since they didn't bring back Stephanie after that, and they severed ties to him. So now Stephanie is off doing her own thing. She's about to fight Marie Pierre-Houle, and the boxer did not hide her enthusiasm for the title in her hometown, the WBA interim title. I am very excited for this opportunity to fight for the interim title at home, Piñeiro said. Fighting again in Bayamón, being such an important fight, it is too exciting and special. It's a fight with many meanings. It is the opportunity of my life to be able to continue onto the great world stages, said the gold medalist at the Central American and Caribbean Games in San Salvador back in 2023. Piñeiro comes from a unanimous decision victory over Calindra Faria last December in a billboard held at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. For her part, Houle has sought a new starting opportunity since her last setback by unanimous decision against the Briton Sandy Ryan back in April of 2023 and has accumulated 3 consecutive victories and a draw since then. I know that Marie is Canadian. She is number 2 in the rankings and lost to Sandy Ryan, said Piñeiro, who trains under the tutelage of Jose Cuadrado. On September 12th, they will see 2 great fighters that are going up to the ring in search of a dream. I'm going to give a great fight, entertaining and full of many new things. There are big and positive changes in me. They will have to get to the Ruben Rodriguez Coliseum so they don't get told. I will continue to represent my island with pride while I assure my future and that of my family. Universal Promotions said that in the coming weeks it will announce the rest of the billboard, which will be a mega function at the Ruben Rodriguez Coliseum. A few passing thoughts. If Matchroom no longer has any interest in promoting Stephanie Piñeiro, I would say that the next best place for her to go is MVP, because not only is MVP signing women fighters left and right, they have ties to the island of Puerto Rico, where Jake Paul is based out of, and one or some Puerto Rican fighters under their banner. It's not just Amanda Serrano, it's also Crystal Rosado. They also got a few male Puerto Rican fighters they're promoting. The fight with Marie Pierre-Houle. I remember Marie Pierre-Houle from when she was boxing under the Yvonne Michel Promotions banner, Group Yvonne Michel, otherwise known as Jim, a well-to-do Canadian-based outfit. Now, I'm not sure that she's with them anymore, but from what I remember of Marie, she is a solid fighter, and this would be a step up for Stephanie Piñeiro, who in her 8 fights has fought the kind of fighters you expect her to fight, and the kind of fighters that you expect her to beat. This would be her first legitimate acid test, and her first fight of this year, heralding her departure from the Matchroom banner that it took 9 months, basically. 9 months to get her back out there. 9 months from her last fight. If her last fight was in December of last year, and her next fight is in September of this one, that means she went 9 months without fighting. Not the longest stint of inactivity, but still a bit much for a fighter with only 8 professional bouts. Usually at the start of a fighter's career, that's when they are most active, sometimes fighting 3 and 4 times in a single calendar year. So for Stephanie to have gone that long without a fight, that's really not a good thing. But she is set to return to action next month against Marie Pierre-Houle in a WBA interim title fight in the welterweight division, and we'll talk more about it as the fight date approaches. In men's welterweight news, on the heels of Manny Pacquiao's draw with Mario Barrios, he says, to fight again is not a question. He means to carry on. Los Angeles, Manny Pacquiao, in his first public comments since leaving Las Vegas with a draw in his welterweight world title fight this past weekend, said he was convinced he had secured a victory on the scorecards even before the start of the 11th round Saturday night versus title holder Mario Barrios. I thought I'd already won the fight, Pacquiao told Boxing Scene on Monday in an interview inside of his Beverly Hills apartment. The final scorecard, in my mind, was 8-4 or 7-5. For the 11th and 12th rounds, I'm okay giving those rounds to Barrios because in my mind, I was thinking, even if they give him these 2 rounds, I did enough in the others to win. I feel like it was a robbery, but I also feel great pride because at age 46, I know I can compete like this with just 2 months of training, Pacquiao said. So going into the 12th round, I felt that on activity alone and at face value, Manny Pacquiao should be well ahead of Mario Barrios, that he should win a decision, but that's just at face value. That's just me playing along and playing the game. That just based on what I saw and who won more rounds and why, I thought Pacquiao won more rounds, but I'm really not sure that this was even a real fight. Pacquiao continued, I started training late for this fight because of the Senate election in the Philippines. I should have trained 3 or 4 months for this fight. In the 2 months I trained, there were no distractions and it was focus, focus, focus. But it's hard because I was pushing so hard because of the limited time. My body sometimes needed a day's rest and I didn't have time to recover. That's why I have peace of mind with the idea that, you know, for 2 months of training, that was good. Showing the world I can still compete at age 46, and it makes me wonder how much more I can compete with 3 or 4 months. I can still do it. Pacquiao said he believes he could return to fight again by year's end. He's gonna turn 47 years old in December, inching closer and closer to 50. To fight again is not a question, Pacquiao said. As long as there is enough time to prepare, my main concern is the preparation, because I'm not interested in fighting B-class, low-class fighters just to fight for money. I want to fight with honor in a competitive fight. Manny, Mario Barrios is a B-class fighter. A C-class fighter to some people. I'm already in shape. With a few months more training, I can come back and be 100% for any style. I'm ready to go, of course. I'll pray to God for good health. The Bible tells us that Moses, even at age 120, his strength never changed from the time he was young. So I realized with discipline and belief in God, God will give you strength, Pacquiao said. That's my base of thinking. Most of the public, when they get old, 40, 50, your mind feels like it's deteriorating, and it feels like you're losing your strength because you're thinking about it. I don't think like that. My mind is always positive. God is good all the time. Not saying that he isn't. But when you've come back to fight the Mario Barrioses and Rolly Romeros of the world, I hate to break the news to you, but those are B-class fighters. Those are low-class fighters. That's not the best and brightest at 147. Far from it. I knew the whole time that I'd be fine, he said of the title fight. I sparred 12 rounds, I made sure of my stamina. I did 8 rounds, 12 rounds, plus mitts. Another 10 rounds, then hitting the heavy bag. I did 33 rounds, many days. Sometimes people speak about discipline when behind the corner, they're not living it, he said. I'm disciplined. I run, then play basketball and badminton for hours each, he said. Badminton is good for my vision, footwork, hand-eye coordination. I also have a pickleball court, but it's so slow. That's a game for when you get old, like 60. Now, in my purview, just based on what I saw on Saturday night, I gave Manny more of the rounds because he was busier and more of them. But I was left scratching my head that Mario Barrios didn't try to do more because normally he's a busy fighter himself, for better or worse, even when he's getting hit. Even when his nose is smashed in and his eyes are swollen, he throws punches in bunches, where on Saturday, he decided to take the night off. He wasn't as busy as he normally is. Against the 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao of all people, and the old cynic in me, it gets to thinking, this thing ain't real. They told Mario to go easy on the old guy. Let him live to fight another day. Let him think. Wait a minute, you don't think that Manny Pacquiao was in on the gag? Might not have been. They may have told Manny Pacquiao one thing and Mario Barrios another. Mario, do the waltz with the old guy, let it go a few rounds, and don't hurt him, and don't worry. We're not going to take your title from you. We're going to score at a draw. Do you think there's going to be a rematch? They could do a rematch for the WBC title, or they could do a fight with Rolly Romero for his WBA title. Rolly Romero, who says, Manny Pacquiao next. Who wouldn't want that? A Hall of Famer on my resume, who wouldn't want that? That's the easiest way to get into the Hall of Fame, right? Romero, 17-2 with 13 knockouts, asked Boxing Scene on Monday, upon learning Pacquiao advisor Sean Gibbons has anointed the 29-year-old Las Vegas native as the favorite to fight Pacquiao next, soured. Of course they want to fight Rolly Romero next. Isn't this everything I was telling you in the build-up? Soured by the scoring of Pacquiao's Saturday bout with WBC champion Mario Barrios as a draw, Gibbons said he views Barrios in disfavor for failing to engage more often with Pacquiao. Oh, so even Sean Gibbons noticed that Mario wasn't doing much of anything out there. Manny, even at age 46, showed up like he always does, but after Manny tagged the guy a few times, he calmed down. Gibbons said of Barrios, they robbed Manny Pacquiao of history because the guy stayed on his bike running. Mario Barrios lost that fight, and my heart bleeds for Manny Pacquiao. I was happy about fighting Barrios, Gibbons said. I thought he'd bring the fight to Manny, and we'd really have a battle. But after Barrios got cracked a few times, he was fighting like Manny was an ICE agent. That's because he really wasn't fighting Manny, Sean. I don't know if Sean Gibbons and Team Pacquiao were at all in on the gag. I suspect that they may not have been. The people at the PBC who put this together may have told Team Pacquiao one thing and told Mario Barrios another. Now, Sean Gibbons has said he has no doubt what Romero's intentions are after the new title holder decked Garcia in the second round of their May 2nd main event at Times Square in New York and has flashed a propensity to deliver knockout blows. We can do it, Romero said. Everything has to make sense. It's going to be a fan favorite. That makes sense right there. Gibbons said Barrios, 29-2, brings only a belt to a Pacquiao fight when he's seeking someone more provocative to fuel pay-per-view buys and stir the public interest. You know it must be a blessing when legends are calling you out, Romero said. If a legend is asking to make a fight with you, that says something, and it's not only because of the belt, it's because I can sell the fight too, and I'm on par with who he is. That speaks highly of how much potential I truly have. This guy's delusional. Romero attended Pacquiao's victory at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Vegas. A legend is going to be a legend, Romero said of Pacquiao's showing at age 46, coming off his 4-year absence and only 1 month removed from his International Boxing Hall of Fame induction. It was a close fight regardless. Not to take anything away from Mario Barrios, Romero said, but I personally saw Pacquiao winning. A lot of people had Pacquiao winning. Barrios only clearly won the last 3 rounds. I feel like Pacquiao was winning the others, stealing some of them with these bursting moments to close the rounds. Gibbons said Pacquiao's endurance and activity outdid Barrios. Some thought it was going to be a Muhammad Ali thing in Ali's next to last fight, a vicious beating against Larry Holmes. Gibbons said now they realize it's what Manny said it was. I'm back. One thing that irked Romero was watching the champion Barrios walk to the ring first. Like I said, if everything makes sense, for instance, he's walking out first. Romero said of Pacquiao, he had Barrios walk out first. What kind of shit is that, bro? The champion walks out last. It's disrespectful. Regardless of that, it's a fight that can definitely get made. Do you honestly think that if Manny Pacquiao were really back to his old form, that guys like Mario Barrios and Rolly Romero would be lining up to fight him? They're only doing it now because he's not back, because he's not now what he was then. These are the kind of fighters that Manny Pacquiao would have chewed up and spat out. The Manny Pacquiao that put the beats on Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito and Oscar De La Hoya, the shellacking that he gave him. Manny Pacquiao is not back. And these are not fights you're watching. That wasn't a fight on Saturday. I don't know if Manny Pacquiao's in on it. It wouldn't surprise me if he's not. If he's none the wiser and he's not in on the gag. He's thinking to himself, hey, I did all right. Not realizing the PBC's in a bind. They're in a pinch. They have these fighters like Rolly and Mario who by themselves are not ticket sellers. They are not draws. You can't keep the doors open and the lights on with just them. Enter a faded legend in Manny Pacquiao who still has aspirations of doing something in the world of boxing, and now you're cooking with oil. Now you're cooking with rice. And if you have any reservations about what I'm implying, consider the fight that took place on the undercard between Brandon Figueroa and Joet Gonzalez. Brandon lost that fight. He lost it wide. He lost it clearly. But who did they give the decision? Brandon. And how did I know that by hook or by crook, Brandon was going to get that decision? It's because a lot of what goes on over there at the PBC ain't real boxing, and a lot of the outcomes are preordained. And they've got skin in the game. They can't just sell you Rolly Romero fights. He doesn't actually have paying customers or fans. Neither does Mario Barrios. What they can do is use those guys to sell you more Pacquiao fights, to pull at your heartstrings for the old timer, the old legend, the fan favorite. Everybody knows that people tend to abandon all reason and all logic in matters of the heart. And they've got a soft spot in their hearts for Manny Pacquiao. They want to believe that he's back, so they'll abandon all common sense. That's what the people at the PBC are hoping for. But I know what I saw, and that was not a fight on Saturday. Mario Barrios held back, likely because he was instructed to. Next thing they're going to try to do is sell you a Rolly Romero fight. So predictable because it's obvious what they're doing.